can't say that anymore. Let's debunk this stupid claim in just a few minutes. And that is to say that the constant complaint you hear that you can't say things anymore because you'll get canceled by the woke mob, the woke mind virus, and it's the idea that you can't say anything like you could 50, 60 years ago or more because the woke mob will cancel you. The idea that everyone is just so offended, and 50 years ago you could say whatever you wanted and it was fine, and people weren't snowflakes and they weren't all offended. It only takes a couple of minutes to debunk this. And I'm only doing this because I actually get this comment on my videos where, for example, for the Caddyshack, which was 1980, and 19, that's important. This is only two of the comments. Back when Hollywood and people in general had a sense of humor. No victims, no snowflakes. Rest in peace, Mr. Dangerfield, which I agree with. Rodney was one of my favorites. One of the greats. Here's another one. Love the old timers. Dangerfield, Rickles, Brooks. The stuff they said back then, they couldn't get away with today, and it would be a shame. I'm glad to see this before all the censoring. The idea that people didn't get offended 60 years ago is just, it's wrong. So let's go to the videotape.
Let's go to the videotape.
Were people offended? Is this correct? The idea that you could say whatever you want and people weren't snowflakes and nobody was offended. Let's take a look at this. So I was able to find a video with the late, great Shecky Green. Great comedian. He passed away last year. The guy's been in tons of movies and tons of TV shows. He was in Splash.
Going off in your helmet. Does it still bother you wearing a bandage?
He was also in History of the World Part 1.
Oh, blow it out your ass.
Oh, Caesar.
And so I found this. This is on The Tonight Show. He was also a guest host a bunch of times on The Tonight Show. And he was a guest a lot. And so this is 1975. This is 5 years before Caddyshack. 5 years. And so my guess is from what he says here, he's probably talking about the 60s.
A lot of people were saying that I was doing too much ethnic humor in my act. And now, you watch shows like Sanford and Son and things like that, and the people have accepted that.
Right.
They accepted dialects and things like that. But if I used to tell a black joke, I used to get letters. People say you shouldn't tell a black joke. Boom, boom, boom. You should do this thing about the Jewish.
Did you catch that? Here, the great Shecky Green, when he made racial jokes, people would write him because they were offended. This is 5 years before Caddyshack. So the idea that people weren't offended 40, 50, 60 years ago and didn't make their complaints known is just, it's just stupid. People, you say things that are offensive, people are going to get offended. It really does help if you're doing a parody of racism, which is exactly what they were doing on Sanford and Son and All in the Family.
Hi there, Jefferson. That ain't very nice, talking that way to your little mammy here. Who you calling mammy? You.
The other thing was, not only were they parodying it, making fun of it, they were funny. So you gotta be funny.
All funny.
In fact, you could probably say some pretty offensive things, as I'll get to, and as long as it's funny, you're good to go. That's the key. It's got to be funny.
Funny.
5 years after Caddyshack, so we're still talking the mid-'80s, and as a Gen Xer, I remember this really, really well. We had, in 1985, the PMRC. That's right. Oh, well, I guess nobody was a snowflake except for the PMRC, right? The fact that we have the PMRC is proof that we have people that are offended at the slightest thing all through history. It's 5 years after Caddyshack. 5 years. And these were people like Tipper Gore who were really offended at the lyrics in music. We were able to get the great Dee Snider of Twisted Sister delivering this great line right to Tipper Gore.
That the only sadomasochism, bondage, and rape in this song is in the mind of Ms. Gore.
One really good thing came from the PMRC. I give you Hook and Mouth, Megadeth. this also ignores the fact that you had Married with Children in the late 80s. Married with Children. There were campaigns to get this show off the air, and that's over 30 years ago. So, again, absolutely ridiculous that nobody would be offended years ago. It's just... So last, I want to just take a few minutes. I want to address this nonsense that you couldn't do something like Caddyshack today because all the snowflakes will get you canceled. And I'll use as Exhibit 1. It's like these people who make these comments have no idea that a TV show called South Park actually exists. They have gone after everybody. They've gone after religion. They've gone after everybody. They've gone after pseudo-religion like with Tom Cruise. They have a character called Mr. Hanky. Oh, but you can't do that today. We also have a movie called Tropic Thunder. A character in blackface. Not only in blackface, but he talks about going... Well, I'll just play it.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard. You don't buy that? Yeah, Sean Penn, 2001, I am saying.
Full retard. In blackface. I believe that Robert Downey Jr. still has a hugely successful career after doing full retard in blackface. And speaking of blackface, there is a long-running TV show called Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This alone destroys this stupid claim you couldn't do something like Caddyshack today. Because Always Sunny in Pennsylvania goes way beyond the boundaries of anything that they did in Caddyshack. Blackface. Not only do we have blackface, but there is actually Danny DeVito singing about... Well,
we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
And in a similar vein, Always Sunny in Philadelphia has one of the funniest scenes, I think, in modern television history. I give you the implication scene.
Yeah, you are. Because if the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no. No. But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
Now, you've said that word implication a couple of times. What implication?
The implication that things...
And yes, they're making jokes about rape. Rape jokes. Still on the air. They wouldn't... Rape jokes. Yeah, rape jokes. The entire scene is about rape. It is hilarious. The show's been on the air for almost 20 years. But yet, people will still complain, you can't say anything today. The woke mob will cancel you. No. So that's proof enough. So just the fact that Always Sunny in Pennsylvania is still on the air is proof, and it's all the proof we need that this nonsense that the things you could do in the 70s and the 80s you can't do today. Nope. It's just not true. Unfortunately, that's not going to stop the stupid comments.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.